Good afternoon. Today is June the 29th, 2020. This is the Service Hero Show. 365 days of awesome, celebrating success through service. Today, we've got an inspiring story that's going to inspire you. So let's do it. All right, let's do this with our service hero today. We have a nominated one from one of our service heroes, one of our friends of the show, Trey Carmichael. Trey, he actually wrote something and shared it with me, Aaron Morrison. Let me tell you about what he says about you. He says that you are 100% working with those that really need it right now. In fact, you've been helping him with his mindset to get it right and to also deal with some old wounds. That you are doing some really great online masterminds and such things with summits during COVID, and that you have offered this without expecting anything back from him, that you have been there helping him to actually get his if you will, empire together. That's my words, because that man is like totally unique and amazing, and that ongoing relationships are becoming to be, they're better, and that he's been having some major breakthroughs. So he actually nominated you because of all of that. I wanted to, say congratulations from our Trey Carmichael. Many of you remember him. He's the young one that started a business when he was 3 years old? I don't know.
He's young, yeah.
Definitely. Yes, he is, and he is rocking it completely. And I just want to recognize those that have shown up already for the show. One of our chemo buddies for life, one of my buddies, Helene Wilson, the ambassador of the chat. Thank you for being here. We have one of our senior ambassadors for our community, Sherry. Glad that you're here with us. We have our board member over digital platforms, Skip Thomas. May I just brag about Skip? He's also an Emmy Award-winning documentary producer, filmmaker, and director. So we are thrilled to have them all with us. Many will join us as we go. Let's do this. Aaron, you are just cutting it up, I hear. Trey could not say enough about you, and also Andrea Adams Miller, who is, let me get her little banner going. In fact, she is one of the, she supports the show and very big with the Smiles Movement and the Red Carpet Connection. She said that you have been out there giving during a time right now where people are kind of wondering what's up, and you've been helping people to have breakthroughs because you help them to uncover their blocks. Let's go into that. You are a certified master prac, or as they call a master practitioner in NLP. Why don't you explain what that is for those that don't understand it?
Well, NLP stands for Neuro-Linguistic Programming, which is essentially the language of the mind and the programming that we have inside of us that determines what we do and the results that we get. So NLP as a technology, as a body of work, essentially is the study of what works. So we interest ourselves with how do we get results at the highest level? How do we deconstruct that, reverse engineer the process so that we can duplicate that for other people?
I love it. You know what gave me the first sign that you were involved in this?
I have no
idea. These pictures right here, when I saw these, I was like, okay, it looks like there's some hypnosis going on. There might be some kind of, and that's a higher level because you got the whole board thing, It's
right.
Like, I always think you're going to see a hula hoop coming out at some point,
No, we weren't levitating. That's a whole other thing now.
I'll tell you, you never know with some of them. It's like, okay,
true.
You want to have some fun? Because some of my friends that are involved in this world, they're up on major stages. And in fact, this last 36-hour give-a-thon we had Dean Hinckley that come on, and he has been on major stages for decades in Las Vegas and Reno, and traveled the world and done all of his stuff. And basically what you're talking about is the power of the mind, the power that we all have within us. And there's a little magic in that, isn't there?
Well, there's a lot of magic in that.
Let's talk about that. I love that smile. A lot of magic in that.
A lot of magic.
So right now, there's a lot of people that need a little or a lot of magic going on because of the events. And yet, I will say that there was one of your images. I'm going to bring it up right now because it really struck me. It had something to do with the conversation of yesterday. And that is the lion who breaks the enemy's rank is a minor hero compared to the lion who overcomes himself. Yes.
Yeah, I think there's a quote. I don't remember who said it, but it was something to the effect that like it's easy to conquer other people, but it's far more difficult to conquer, yourself. And it's really challenging too when all of our five senses are pointed out away from us, right? To perceive the world outside of us. And so it takes a lot of work to turn our attention inward, right? To become aware of what's going on inside of us and to do that deep inner work that we need to do to overcome our own challenges, our own demons, our own limiting patterns of thinking, right? Awareness is the first step.
Wow. Breakthrough. I'm sure that there's many having them right now because in truth, I'm just one test away from all of that, and it's like, okay, yet the way you explain it in a way that I have a feeling that there's many watching right now that are saying, I finally get it, maybe, it's like, because, and nothing wrong with the way anybody explains anything. Please understand that, all my friends. Yet there's that way of being able to say, okay, you may not have had hours and hours and days and much more time in the books and with others and practicing and everything. And they want to understand, what are you talking about when you're saying, this, the limiting beliefs and the overcoming this and the, all this other stuff. But when you put it that way, okay, think about the way when you were a kid, you were taught to watch the teacher. You were taught that if Billy was throwing, a spitball, don't get in the way. You were taught to look outward. You were taught to talk to those people in front of you, look at them in the eye, be concentrating on what they're thinking, and don't be necessarily thinking about your comeback, because if you're not in the moment. You need to be in that moment to be sharing that information, right? Well, that's that outward, going outward and concentrating. There's nothing wrong with that. In fact, we need to have those skills. We need to have them in abundance. Yet, what you were just explaining right now was that even more than that, you were giving permission to say, all right, let's do this. Let's have some moments of time to kind of like look inside ourselves, and that courage that cowardly lion was looking for in the Wizard of Oz, and he thought he had to go see the man behind the curtain. However, in truth, he always had it himself, didn't he?
Right. Yeah.
It's
self-awareness is so, it's like you said, it's not something that's taught, right? And self-awareness, it's, every cell in our body is eavesdropping on the conversation that we're having in our mind, right?
Yes.
And so how do we become aware of what it is that we're thinking? The 60 to 80,000 thoughts per day that are running through our heads that we're not consciously aware of, right?
Right.
And it's our emotions. And so I think one of the fundamental disconnects, at least one of my biggest ahas in the work that I've done, is the recognition or the realization that our emotions are simply a signal from our mind of what it is that we're thinking, right? Because if what we want in life is not what we're getting, if there's a disconnect between our conscious desires and our behavior and the results that we're getting, then it's because there is a program, right, in our unconscious mind that is running the ship, that's driving the bus, that's taking us somewhere other than where we want to go.
Right.
And it's focusing in on what are those programs that's taking us to the destination that we don't want to go to.
Right.
And that's primarily what I, concern myself with and focus on with my clients.
And that makes complete sense in that I'm going to ask you, I'm not going to say how many, like when you're talking the conscious mind, what we think of, what most people think, oh, that's my brain. I'm totally in tune with it. I got it going on, and then that machine that runs us, oh, that's just a small part of me, somewhere in there, it's doing its thing, but I don't worry about it because, it keeps me going.
Right.
However, so many people don't understand what the percentages are. What are the percentages of that? Do you want to explain that to us all? You're doing such a good job.
Depending on who you listen to. So Bruce Lipton, the cellular biologist and epigeneticist, says that 95% of the thoughts that we think are habitual, right? So only 5% of what we do on a daily basis is conscious. The rest of it is unconscious. And those are just the programs driving our behavior. That's not even the intelligence that lives inside of us that's running the ship, right? Because when you think about that, our bodies are comprised of 37 trillion cells. And every second of every day.
Let's 37 trillion
cells.
I just wanted to make sure I was hearing you correctly because I do have a little bit of a hearing challenge. So I wanted to make sure I was getting that one right. 37 trillion cells. Yes. Okay. Wow. And our body, we're constantly renewing that, right? And so
renewing the cells,
yeah. So that's where I'm thinking, okay, this is where someone like yourself, Aaron, comes in handy to understand these things, help someone else understand them and say, hey, there's hope.
Of course, there's always hope. We as humans are unlimited, right? It's whether or not we recognize the unlimited nature of our potential. And that realization actually was what set me on the path that I'm on. Was, when I was searching for the answer, like just kind of that deep down knowing of there's more to life than this, right? What is it that's out there? What is that missing piece of the puzzle? And I went and I was getting training and studying, getting certifications, all with the intention of improving my skills to do my job better, right? And to perform better in my industry. And what I realized was, that I was going out and getting more tools and more resources and more knowledge to climb the mountain that I was on. And my big aha moment was the moment that I realized, like, I didn't have to climb that mountain. I could climb any mountain I wanted to, that I literally had unlimited potential if I simply just accepted and just reached out and took it, right?
Right, yeah.
Rather than, like, it was my own thinking that was holding me back. I was only limited by the thinking and what I believed about myself and what I was capable of.
I love that. In fact, I have to show this. It's one of yours. It's one of yours. I love this.
Okay.
It's the one where you're basically saying, okay, you got the others that are willing to like live that life where they're kind of like hesitant and they're going
safe.
It's safe. There you go.
Yeah,
and
you're
going right into it. Boom, let's do that. Let's climb that mountain. Let's jump into the water. Let's just make this thing happen. And there's another quote that you found. I really liked your quotes. And now I can understand because in talking with you, you're just fun to talk to. And that is that, I'm going to make this bigger. Let me grab that again. You can see it's really fun to be at the tail end of the baby boomers, guys. Wink, wink. Yes. Successful people are always looking for opportunities to help others. Unsuccessful people are always asking, what's in it for me? Now, the the point that you were going there, and I want to go here with Brian Tracy, because I love the man. I love the man. I've actually, back in the day when we were both back in the day, and he used to have those big, kind of like Grant Cardone does now with the 10X. Brian Tracy used to have those, and I was a groupie. No.
Oh, really?
Not really.
I didn't know he had those.
Yeah, that's business. We loved him,
Oh, gotcha.
we still do. Yeah, like, okay, back in that day. And so, but the thing here is that when you were climbing your mountain, you were becoming that success because you realized that you were looking for yourself, yes, but also you were not only, did you know at that time you were looking for others? Or when was the aha came? When did that aha come? Because I will tell you this, the thing that I'm seeing about you and the fact that you were nominated as a service hero is I'm wondering, and this is the question I'd really love to ask and have you kind of dive down with it, and that is, were you always looking for yourself, or did you know somewhere down deep inside that you were looking for yourself so that you could break free and then be able to share what you have, the insights and the way you look at things with others? Because I'll tell you already, just in the time I've spoken with you, I can tell, there's a lot going on. And you're welcome. So I'm just wondering if possibly, something to explore in that, because it's kind of like that cowardly lion courage thought that I was having. We always had it inside of us, and sometimes we have to take that journey to figure it out. And then it's like Dorothy, when she found that there's always no place like home, though she thought she had to go over a rainbow and find Oz, and all that neat stuff. But so let's go back to you, because you you go on, and you're getting all of these, you're going to the classes, you're doing all the stuff, you're you're 10X, and I love this one, and then you have a bit of a Titanic moment.
That's exactly what that was. I was letting out my inner Leo.
Oh, you're Leo. I get it. Okay, I'm getting it. And you're free, you're out there, you're the king of the world. and let's talk about that moment in time, because that right there, that was captured in it, fun picture. However, there's some energy coming from that.
I was just goofing off. I'm just being a goofball.
Yeah, I love it though. I love it.
I did want to answer the question right from before, and the answer is no. I didn't always know that my destiny was going to be helping others, and so my own personal belief about an individual's evolution from being a victim of our circumstances, right? It's like those three crucial switches that get flipped. And we all start out, and I know from me personally, I did start out feeling like everything else, the world was against me. And, I couldn't win for losing, right? Like I just had a bad lot in life. And there was a point at which I made the decision, and I said, the heck with that story. I'm done with that story. I'm going to take control, right? I'm going to shift from being at the effect of my environment to being at cause for the results that I get in my life. And that was when my success began. I started getting better results in my life because I took responsibility for the outcome. And the next stage was from scarcity to abundance, right? And I described that simply as the understanding that you having more doesn't prevent me from also having more, right? It's not like there's a finite number of resources on the planet, right? We just make more. There's more than enough for everybody to have everything that they need. And then that last stage, which you were alluding to, is from personal growth and personal success to contribution to others and being of service to others. And I feel like each one of these is a decision that we have to make for ourselves. And especially that last piece of personal growth to contribution, once we achieve a certain level of success where we understand, we believe in the sustainability of that success, and we have faith in our capabilities to produce the results that we want, that's when we're like, okay, great, let's help other people, you know. And that's like, you've gotten far enough up the mountain and you're just hanging on to the top and you're reaching back, you know, for other people and helping them to climb the mountain as well, you know. And so like, that's actually my goal, is to help entrepreneurs and business owners to, you know, take that boulder that they feel like, you know, they just can't get up to the top of that hill and push it over the top. Because I truly believe that once their cup is filled to overflowing, it's going to overflow into others. They will automatically, naturally evolve into an attitude and a spirit of service.
Well said. Well said. Thank you for going there. Thank you for going there. I want to recognize, okay, great books by Bruce Lipton.
Yeah, Lipton.
Okay, we're saying hi to Trey. Hello, Trey. Thank you for nominating Aaron. I can see why, my friend. I can see why. Definitely a service hero. And let's see. You are still, are you? Oh, a groupie.
A groupie.
You know, I'm a groupie of life. You know, there you go. And Helene is saying, thank you for helping others. You know, I'm glad that you went there, because you, to me, you are someone that so many need to hear from. And the reason why is because when you look at, I didn't ask you how old, nor you don't have to say, but you know, anybody that knows, you know,
I'm older than I look.
You know, you're so young looking. You look like you're as young as Trey is, you know. And,
oh, not even close.
Oh my goodness.
You're aging, Trey.
Okay, well, Trey's ageless. You know, he's just
he
one of those ageless kind of guys. And for anybody that doesn't remember who Trey Carmichael is, go back a couple of days or about a week or so, and you'll be able to watch his service hero segment, and you'll be amazed at the young guy, the young entrepreneur that he is.
He's a good kid.
Amazing soul, amazing soul. And the fact that you you graduated from high school, you went into the construction industry, is that correct? Mm-hmm. And then you decided, okay, there's more to life. I'm going to go and get self-educated so that I can become better in that. Was it that industry, or was there another industry in between the construction industry and
for a very, very brief period of time? What actually started that journey was I owned my business, right, in remodeling, and I was successful in it, but unfulfilled by it. And I was like, you know, I was looking for something else, and real estate was that something else. And so I went and started taking courses in real estate, and, you know, getting education in real estate. I got my real estate license, you know, and I spent, you know, a lot of time and money doing that. And then, you know, so that period though, right there, like just the idea where I was in my life at that point of taking some of my attention away from my construction business to give it to real estate, to start something new, terrified me. I was absolutely terrified. I mean, I already made the leap, right? Working for someone else to starting my own business, and you know, grew my success there, and then just taking a little bit of that attention away from my successful business to start something new terrified me. Fast forward, you know, a couple of years of additional training, additional certifications, more personal growth. And I literally shut down my construction business and took the leap full time into coaching and doing the work that I'm doing now. And it was because of that belief that I had in my ability to do whatever I put my mind to, that I didn't have before. Like just a couple of years prior, I didn't have it. And so it didn't happen overnight, right?
Right. No.
And it was still scary as hell.
Yeah.
It was still scary as hell. And I definitely don't recommend burning the boats for everyone, right? I mean,
it just depends on the personality and truth, you know, and
absolutely.
You know what? Okay, this is making a lot more sense. Okay, you were not just in construction. You owned the company. You were the business owner. You were the one that started it, jumped from the construction piece, wherever you were working for others, then said, okay, I can hang that shingle on the door. I can be the one that takes the responsibility. I can be the one to go out there and make the sales, make the deals, do the job, get the, and show up as the businessman that you are. It just so happens that the niche of business was construction. And so what right now, as you're talking with other business owners, as you were talking about your avatar, the people you want to help with that big boulder to go up the hill, you can relate to them. You can totally get them. And oftentimes they want to know that. They want to know, okay, Aaron, that's really nice. And I love the way you talk. You got a great smile and really fun. I can see it, but I really need someone serious. They know that they've been there. They know they've put everything on the line. Everything on the line. And if you don't do it, then it's gone because, whatever it is. And, maybe I got to keep going and find someone else. And what I'm hearing from you is that you've been there, you've done that, you've put it all on the line. You've signed your name and said, okay, my name is good here. We will take care of what needs to be done. And the buck stops here. And that's what a business owner has to be willing to do. And, is he 26 years old?
No, I'm quite a bit older than that.
This is fun. They're going to be like, okay.
I'll give you some quick math. So I was 18 when I got into the construction business.
Okay.
I did that for 20 years.
Okay.
And I've been doing this for almost 2 years. So.
Oh, you're baby.
Yeah.
So baby. But
I'm older than I look.
You are older than you look, and in truth, again, it's anybody that's been there and done that and had that baby face, they understand that too. Is sometimes you have to overcome the baby face. It's like, okay,
I definitely did, yeah.
Yeah, because you have to be able to show, hey, I do have the experience, I do have the knowledge, I understand what's going on. Hey, let's have some fun. Let's get this done. And you
pretty much
right. That is what I'm seeing here. And so in telling your service hero story, your inspiring story, because I am being inspired by it, I can tell you is that right now there are so many people that today, on June the 29th in the year 2020, anybody that sees this in the future, look at history and see what's happening today. We've got a few items that we're dealing with. A worldwide pandemic, civil unrest in some of the streets. We have a few things, not to get into any of that politically, to look at it in a mindset way, to look at it for the opportunity that it is for all. And some people will say, how is there any opportunity? Well, I've actually been watching some of the stories of some of the people because I love stories and inspiring stories that are going to inspire me. And I've wanted to see, why are some people going out there and sharing their points of view in regards to this? What's the backstory of them? And when you start looking at it, you start seeing the commonality of what right now we're at and you're really talking about. And that is the opportunity to pivot. The opportunity for us as a person, as a family, as a society, as a world, to pivot and to then, while doing it and being educated, pivot and go to a higher vibration and seek an opportunity where there is what you were sharing. And I totally agree with you. I call it the abundance theory, kind of an old-fashioned word in some ways, not in mine, because the concept is there is plenty. And that's what you were just sharing. It's not that we're competing in any way, in any way. We are all able to go out there and to succeed, and we can do it together. And that's what's so exciting. And you right now, my dear service hero, Aaron Morrison, you're sharing that, yes, that let's drill it down. Who is it that you're helping? Because everybody helping others, like when you were giving the analogy of being up on top of that hill, and then you're reaching. And where were you reaching? It was interesting listening to you. You were reaching to that next person down to help them to come up. You weren't you didn't mention, oh, I was still reaching for that next level up, because you're always reaching to go better. Anybody that does this, but where did you immediately go? The service hero way of thinking. You immediately thought, how am I going to help someone? I'm going to give them a hand up. And that's why you were nominated by Trey. So let's talk about that. That right now, you've been in the construction world. Anybody that knows it, anybody that has loved it, and then hated it, and then loved it again, understands that way of thinking, right? Because it's very, talk about a roller coaster. Yeah. That one can be Mr. Toad's Wild Ride. And right. And so you have to be able to be ready for a rainy day. You have to be able to think that way to keep your business going if you're a business owner. So right now, you think about even what's happening. It's a period of time that you could say would be like a downturn back in your old days.
Sure.
And there's a lot of businesses that the owners and the managers and such never had to deal with that way of thinking, because they were in a whole different, hey, I didn't go into that because I knew there would be up and downs. I went over here because it was going to be a little bit more steady, maybe a slower growth. However, it would be steady. And then all of a sudden, boom, everything has a different look and feel right now. Yet it's an opportunity. So what would you say to those people right now that are out there saying, I'm about ready. The pain is at that point. I'm ready to start looking at it. What do they need to be thinking of right now? And, any kind of words of wisdom. First, maybe a question to ask themselves if they're ready. And then how could you help them?
I mean, it's funny that you say that, because it was right at the very beginning of all of this when we didn't even know like how bad it was going to get. Right. All this had just started, right? A couple of weeks into the lockdown, essentially. And, I had a conversation with a friend of mine, and he was saying, like, what is your advice to people like right now? And like that Brian Tracy quote, successful people are always asking, like, what can I do for other people? I think it was Zig Ziglar who said, when you help enough other people get what they want, you'll have everything that you want.
Right.
And so it's always, always, always. Heck, I was at Growth Summit in September last year with Dean Graziosi, Brendan Burchard, and I forget the other guy's name. But I was there and I asked them that question, right? I asked them the question, like, what is the one thing, and all three of them had that, kind of that spirit of service. And it was like, who needs you to show up today, right? Albert Einstein said there's opportunity in every difficulty.
Yes.
And it's all about the mindset and the perspective and that kind of, 2 millimeter shift where maybe the path that you were on has abruptly ended, right? Like, for example, a friend of mine, we were at, an event, a personal development event earlier this year when COVID hit. Mm-hmm. And literally overnight, her business evaporated. She's an events planner, right? And she had live events lined up on her calendar for the next 6 months. And all of a sudden, like, boom, that was it. Like, game over. And, had a little bit of a meltdown, but, because she's got that growth mindset and that determination of, I'm going to do this no matter what. She pivoted, she shifted, she figured out another way to go, right? Because that door had closed, another door opened. And because she had the willingness to look around and explore the different options, was able to, shift into the virtual space, which everybody went virtual. And so boom, successful again. Right. And packing that calendar up. And so for the individual who maybe like their industry has, slowed down or they've lost their job or whatever, the first question that I always ask myself is, who has a problem that I can solve? Right. Mm-hmm. And I mean, really, who has a problem that I can solve that they're willing to pay to solve?
Right.
You know,
If you
'cause
want it to be a business, because there's two different ways of looking at that question. And let's just be real, because there is the, okay, I need to do, we got to make some money, guys. And there's nothing wrong with that. I am a total entrepreneur. I believe in it. So, got to do that. And then the more you make, then the next, then you can look at the other way of looking at it. Now, how can I serve? What can I do right now to serve others where I can then give because I've done so well over here? So, it's maybe a two-part question, but we're looking at that. Yes. What is it that someone needs right now that I can help, that will pay for my services to help them with that problem? And very good question. And so then, so they come up with the fact that, yes, okay, Aaron, yes, you're someone that can help me. Now, how does that look?
Well, if I'm someone that can help them, then we have a conversation, right? Because first of all, they've got to raise their hand and say, okay, that sounds like me. And, to your earlier point, your client avatar is essentially you before the transformation, right? So
that's good.
Who better to speak into the pain of a successful but unfulfilled entrepreneur than a successful but unfulfilled entrepreneur? had built my company to the point where it was like $500,000 a year, just me, right? As a solopreneur, $500,000 a year. And I'm this sucks. But all of my friends and family going, you're crazy. Like, you've got a great business. What are you doing? And I'm like, yeah, but I'm not fulfilled. I'm not happy, right?
Right.
And that dissatisfaction with where I was, and then also having that fear of changing gears and getting off of that particular highway because I didn't know anything else, right? And so it's like, I understand that pain point, that stuckness, right?
Right.
But so the first thing is that somebody's got to raise their hand and say, I think that you can help me. And then we have a conversation to determine, can I help you? Are we the right fit? Does this make sense, right? Like, am I the right person to help you with this problem? And if not, then I'll refer you to somebody who is, because at the end of the day, it's about what's best for the client. Because I feel like, that abundance mentality and that good karma or good energy or whatever you want to call it, right? When you put that out into the universe, it comes back. Whatever you put out gets reflected back.
And absolutely. Can I just compliment you? I am just a few days older than you are. And, and I'm just thinking, job well done. Job well done. Not everybody gets that. Not everyone does. And the very, very few percentage points of the people that do, I believe, are the cream of the crop. Because the fact for, and it's shock though, what, out of some people when you say, what, I get what your pain is. However, I really am not the person for you. However, I do have someone, or maybe even a few people that I would love for you to visit with, and do it out of the right thing to do. Not because you're then saying scarcity, be gone. Right. There is no scarcity. And yes, it always comes back. So many more. It's incredible how that works. And I really wanted to point that piece out because I didn't want that overlooked. Too many people don't know that concept. They need to.
Deeper than that too.
Yes.
It's not just the abundance mentality, and I don't know why it works that way, right? Like the whole spiritual woo-woo, all that. Like,
but
I don't know why it does, but I did learn that when I would say no to the projects and no to the clients that did not serve me, that I was not the best solution and fit for. Like, more projects that were and more clients that were would find me.
Yeah.
And it's not just the, you say no, knowing which to say no to, but it's also understanding, right? Like, integrity is one of my core values. And if I take on a client who isn't the best fit for me, then that's going to drain my energy, and that's going to prevent me from serving all my other clients at the highest level. And so I'm actually doing all of my clients a disservice to work with somebody that I'm not a good fit for, because they're not going to get the best of me because I'm being drained by this one here, right?
Right.
And so they're a good fit for someone else, right? They'll find, their home, right?
Oh, yeah. This is
not
fun.
me.
This is a fun conversation, guys. I'm having a blast, because what I'm thinking, because I'm finally getting some of this in what we're learning in our organization, and what we constantly are talking about is the power of frequency, because at certain levels it can actually help us to heal in our minds, in our souls, in our bodies, and all sorts of things. And think about it this way, in your NLP way of thinking, is that when you have the higher frequency going on, where you are the good match, you're doing good for your clients, and then you bring it down because, I took on a client that this is taking me down to a place right here. That's going to bring that whole level down. And so then it really isn't serving anyone. And I'm getting that. And so thank you for going there with me on this concept, because again, another teaching moment where you're going to possibly be serving that many more people that needed to hear that very nugget, that they might even be struggling right this minute. Like, okay, it's really tough right now. I have some bills and things have shifted, and I finally pivoted, and here's my opportunity. Yet I'm just not feeling it. I don't know. What do I do? And that can really be a tough decision, especially when it's that first one, when you've done that change and it's not the good match. That's where you have to have that self-belief, and you have to have that courage of the lion, that the image that we were showing.
It's tough.
It's not
easy. It's not an easy decision to make when you've got bills to pay, and but it's a knowingness, right? Like, just right. in your gut, you just know, like, the thought of working with this client is like, it's just not quite right. It's not a good fit,
Right.
And having, like you said, the courage to say, you're not the best fit, right? Or I have someone who's a better fit.
Right. And then give solutions. So you're not just giving them, now what do I do? No, because in the end, guys, this is the way it works too. Trust me, I worked a few days in this world, and when that would happen, is that they would be so grateful when they did find that one, like, oh, I see what you mean. I'm clicking with, thank you so very much. What can I do for you? And they have the utmost, that respect continues, if not elevates. And
I've had referrals from clients.
Right, exactly. And that's the element of what is truly, when we were talking about the pivot right now, that this is a pivot, and that if we all pivot together and we all are working together, and I have a little bit of a Shangri-La way of thinking, that we can all do it. I do, but I put it out there too, to, that we are highlighting people that are like, that are service heroes. We're going to show the world that, yes, there's plenty of them out there. And then if we all work together and get things going, all things are possible. So what are the next things for you? What's up next?
Next, the path that I'm on, right? Like, I'm just doing every day the things that I do, and, helping the people that I help. And it's, the path is going to take me where the path goes, right?
Mm-hmm.
I have a very kind of stoic way of thinking that, like, this moment right now is perfect, in that it's exactly where I'm supposed to be, doing exactly what I'm supposed to do, and everything's going to show up at exactly the right time in exactly the right way. And I just have to keep driving forward and, taking consistent action. So, like, my vision, right, that I saw in my mind last year, in March.
I want to hear it.
So I had attended a leadership and coaching training, and it was on the plane on the way back that a very good friend of mine challenged me, and he was there with me, and he said, all right, you need to make a plan. How are you going to leverage and utilize this information? And when I sat down on the plane, I had a vision, and it was like this, the totality of the vision hit me all at once, like a freight train, right? And the feeling that I got was distinctly one of gratitude and humility, because I didn't feel like I was significant, right? Like I had this grand idea, right? The way that I felt was of like just gratitude of being in that state where I could tap into and kind of glimpse that idea, right? And the grandeur of that idea. And what I saw was, like literally, like those 3 stages I mentioned earlier, like going from being at effect to being at cause, taking control of our environment and our results, and then going from scarcity to abundance and realizing that there's more than enough wealth and everything on the planet, resources for everybody to have what they need, and from growth to contribution. And when people are empowered, right, to reach for the stars, to chase the biggest dreams that they can conceive of, right? And then when they believe in themselves enough to have faith that they can actually achieve those dreams, right? And when everybody on the planet has everything that they need, right? Because we'll figure out how to get clean water to people and feed people on fewer resources and
I know
clean energy that doesn't pollute the planet, And
we got a lot of heroes. Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, when we have a world full of people who are collectively moving the needle and focused on thriving rather than just surviving, like what's possible. And so, like, big picture, long term, like this technology of personal development and of how to understand ourselves and the way that our minds function so that we can optimize ourselves for peak performance, right? Like educational reform and teaching children how to do this stuff, because unless we're starting at the beginning, unless we're getting this technology and this information into kids' heads before they acquire adults remove, right? Like I'm helping them strip all that stuff away. If we can teach them before they even acquire it, right? Teach them before they even get these limiting beliefs and the limiting thought patterns and the limiting thinking, right? What is possible when you have a generation of unlimited individuals who are just, conceiving of the wildest dreams and going to, just pursuing that and chasing that and having the understanding, right, that you having more doesn't prevent me from having more. That abundance mentality. And a good friend of mine, Juan, calls it cooperation, right?
Where I love that.
Everybody's cooperating, and we're also competing with one another, but in a way that makes us all better.
Right. I love that because
like, I don't have to win by beating you.
Right. Exactly. And Skip, my board member, thanks, Aaron. Great wisdom and knowingness.
Thanks, Skip.
He knows his stuff. He knows this guy's, trust me, he knows his stuff.
We should probably have a conversation.
I'm thinking that too. I'm absolutely thinking that. In fact, yes, I'm actually thinking that there's a lot here going on and really exciting stuff, because there's so much happening right now. This is an amazing time, and I'm energized. I'm really excited about what you're sharing, and I love. Can I just hats off to you that you are looking at our next generation too and getting this for them, because we need to think about the generational stuff we've been handing down, that was handed to us, that was handed to them, that was handed into family history and genealogy, and let's just say there's been plenty of it, but we can cut that cord now. We can say, okay, with love, thank you very much for all the nuggets and wonderful wisdom you gave us. However, now we're going to go forward in a healthy way and remember all the good. Don't worry, you'll be going with us with the good stories and the good information. However, some of that baggage, we're just going to drop off now. It's not going with us anymore. And teaching our next generation that is completely possible, and that there is just absolutely no impossibilities out there, that anything and everything is possible, and there is more than enough as we speak today on June the 29th, 2020. There is plenty. So what I'm going to do for a moment, I'm going to give you a little bit of a stage, a few moments to share an inspirational thought, something that you may, you get downloads, you get those inspirations, I can see it, that you are feeling like, okay, right now I need to share this. And then I'll come back and then we'll close out the show. Okay.
Cool.
All right.
Well, I've got a couple of different thoughts actually, and the statistics say that 70% of people in the United States are unfulfilled in their careers, and 92% of people fail to accomplish their goals, right? Only 8% of people actually finish their goals, that finish what they start, right? And we know this from studies that they've done of people who buy books and don't read them, people who take courses and don't use them, right? And what that means to me is when you extrapolate that out, that we have an epidemic of people who are dying with their music still inside of them and their gifts ungiven, and that to me is a tragedy, and I feel that it's a completely unavoidable, unnecessary tragedy that simply with proper education and encouragement and support, that we literally what we're capable of achieving as humans is unlimited. There literally is nothing that's impossible. And going back to what you said previously about vibrational energy, right? If you just Google, like the vibrational energy of emotions, and you look at where they fall on the spectrum in terms of like, love is like in the middle, and then enlightenment is near the top. And you have like anger and fear and guilt. Yeah, there you go. Exactly. That's exactly what I'm talking about. And you have these low vibration energies, right? And it doesn't matter what you believe. Doesn't matter what side of the aisle or what side of the fence or what side of the tracks you grew up on or what your belief system is. The universal truth of the matter is, and the fact of the matter is, that when you're stuck in the anger and the guilt and the fear-based thinking, those lower vibrational energies, those primal states of being, are preventing us from accessing our creativity and our gratitude and our joy and our forgiveness and our love, which is where we need to be to actually solve the freaking problems that we've got, right? So no matter what you're listening to, whatever channel you're watching on TV, whatever politician you want to be in office, the fact of the matter is, as long as we stay stuck in fear, anger, guilt, shame, all those lower vibrational energies, we're not solving problems from there. We don't have creativity. We're not acting courageously. We're not acting out of love and forgiveness and empathy, and compassion, right? It's just, we're just going to stay stuck there, perpetuating the cycle. And so the only way out is to opt out, is to say, I'm not going to follow that path. I'm not going to believe that narrative. I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole and feel those feelings, right? And so like at its core, that's really one of the major things that I do is, to help people to get present to what's coming up inside, how, what those emotions are, what those feelings are, to acknowledge it, to recognize it, to become aware of it, and to have the tools to get back into a powerful state where we can create powerfully from that place, rather than getting stuck in the negative emotions of fear and guilt and overwhelm and stress and, all the rest of that crap. So
I love it. I absolutely love it. In fact, Skip shares here, my best friend, a great musician, told me that, Skip, don't die with the music still in you.
There you go.
There you go.
Don't do it, Skip.
Don't do it.
Don't do it, Skip.
No, go into the light, but in the light of the frequency, the higher, the vibrational, beautiful light of the blues and the purples. Um, and you are just a delight, Aaron. You just really are. Thank you. And we are definitely going to be talking, because there is some really great stuff that is coming together that's going to be helping many, many, many that will raise the vibration for the world. I mean, this is a worldwide thing, and we're starting a movement, and we're going to make it happen. And there's many that are jumping on board, and it's pretty exciting stuff. And so what you're talking about right now is just total in alignment. So we do need to just kind of talk. But in the meantime, what I really want you to do is to share. After this, please share your contact information in the comments, and then everyone, whoever sees this on whatever social media platform, because I'm starting to share the inspiring stories of those inspiring others, the Service Hero Show, out on social media now. And so whatever your platform is, you'll be able to see these shows. I am asking the Service Heroes to put their comments and their contact information into the YouTube. And so this way it's easily found. So you are invited to do that. We will get that information in. And so wherever you're watching this show about Aaron and you're saying, hey, he's kind of cool, I want to talk with him, you'll know how to get a hold of him. There you go. So as we close the Service Hero Show, 365 days of awesome. Celebrate success through service. Yes, Trey Carmichael was correct. Aaron Morrison, you are a service hero. We have determined that today. You are serving others. In fact, you've served us well for this hour. You've taught us, and actually you've inspired me, and I've had some, yes, big moments that, you know, it's great to have information that you hear, and yet when you hear it a certain way, put from someone that whatever it is, that, oh, that's that, I get it. That also should make others and inspire others out there, you possibly, to say, you know what, there are so many teaching the same thing. So what? People can be hearing the same thing over and over, but it takes that one that has the same way of thinking, right? The same kind of energy that is finally going to help that other one to break through in their moment. And you actually did that for me today, Aaron. Great. So I want to say personally, thank you for that. And I want to also encourage you out there to ask that question. You know, ask the questions that were brought up today. And if you don't remember what they are, rewind and look. Because you know what? The more you listen to what was shared today, I believe the more you're going to get out of it. Because there were a lot of nuggets I heard today. And I know if you watch and listen to this in replay a few times, you're going to get them also. So please take advantage of the kindness and the generosity of this amazing service hero's heart that he shared so much with us today. So thank you, Aaron, for being here with us for this hour. I appreciate you very much.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate that. And I just want to real quick, yes, on the tail of that last comment that you made, it brought up that when I made the transition from, you know, my construction business into coaching and transformational work, there was a friend of mine who had said, you know, like, who are you? Who are you to help people with their stuff, right? He's like, you haven't achieved that level of success yourself, you know, like you're putting the cart before the horse. And I went, actually, no, because the fact that there's still a need for this work means there aren't yet enough voices sharing this message, right? The yes. fact that the world is in the state that it's in is proof enough that they need me out there sharing this stuff and everybody else who wants to jump on board and spread this message.
You said it too. Jump on board. Absolutely. Absolutely. So, Aaron, you know, I'm a believer. I am a believer, and I know that there are others that are too. So, you know, job well done. Job well done. Thank you for listening to your inner voice to go and get that education. And thank you for doing the work on that plane. And then having that download, that vision that, yes, the world needs you and needs so many. So are you out there ready to listen to the calling that you're having? You know you're having it. So do something about it. Really seriously, do something about it. I am encouraging you. Really do some work. All right. Thank you, Aaron. Make it a great day. And for the buddies, Today is Magic Monday, a favorite for many. Yes, the magic pair within the Chemo Buddies for Life community will be sharing their pixie dust and fairy stuff and their wings. Yes, they're a little fun and crazy, yet they always are teaching us something. The dynamic and magical duo will be on at 5 o'clock Pacific, 8 o'clock Eastern in the closed group chat. If you don't know where that is, Chemo Buddies for Life or it's here on Facebook, Chemo Buddies for Life. Go to the page, go to groups, and join the community. 2 rules: what is said there stays there, and it is a safe place. We protect it. And so come and join. Humor, hope, heart, hugs, and a lot of love, because today and 2020 is the year of love. Actually, we've declared it to be the decade of love. All right, see you there. Bye.